Olay. Bartolai.
Not present.
Is not present? Okay. Jessica Smith, or Hansch Smith? Okay. I'm just going to go along.
Hello,
Hi. Yeah,
Jessica Hansch-Smith. The beginning of this year started off with an email to Mr. Jewett after watching Florida's school tragedy unfold. Unfortunately, we are all human and we react and come in at the midnight hour. The attitude is, it will never happen to me. I had started already preparing myself for these types of events. 3 years ago, I took a weekend class and became certified with my husband in TCCC, Technical Combat Casualty Care. It was an intense and formative class and walked away with a lot of tools, but shame on me that it took 3 years to write an email after another horrible tragedy had taken place. That email simply asked, how can we help out the school? What can we do to get resources in here for the teachers in their classrooms in the event that they are in a lockdown for hours on end with children for food, water, bathroom, first aid supplies? Mr. Jewett was gracious and asked my husband and I to come in for a meeting that same week the email was sent. From that meeting, dates were set for the first medical training for approximately 9 Bristol school staff members. They all took time on a Saturday in April this year to come down to our station and to be the first pilot program. Mr. Jewett, Mr. Terry, and Ms. Lynn were 3 out of the 9 people that day. It was encouraging to see how receptive and how well everyone was working together. During that time, also, we were able to get trauma bags in through our Bristol Firemen's Association, on top of the ones Mr. Jewett had already ordered. This August was the big debut of the entire Bristol school staff, teachers, cooks, administrations, janitors. Everyone was involved and participated, hopefully learned something valuable that day. Tools that they can use even for their own families if need be, even though it wasn't in their job description. This year coming up marks my 18th year for being on the Bristol Fire Department as a paramedic firefighter. Also my 10th year of being your public servant, working for this village as public works. I've enjoyed this community immensely. I've cried with you at different hardships that have taken place as I've responded to your homes and emergencies, and I've also celebrated with your achievements and proud of your success in this community as I've seen, heard, or read about them. Yes, there are a lot of rumors, facts, and unanswered questions running rampant, and working in this town, I've heard them from one spectrum to the other. But on a positive note, the administration has been working on communicating more to all. My email has blown up by Bristol Grade School over the past couple of weeks, and it's just not about my daughter's lunch account that needs attention. The safety that has already been implemented is still improving on an everyday basis, from all Bristol staff medically trained, trauma bags around the school, camera systems, that awesome front door. These are huge improvements. We are already ahead of the ball game compared to the rest of the county schools. Be proud. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what has already been put in place. Instead of pointing fingers and demanding answers, be a part of the solution in correcting this problem at hand. Ask how you can help out and be a part to make the school, staff, and most importantly, the students be successful and keep them safe. Teach your children to look out for their classmates and be a friend. Teach your children to be respectful to their teachers and administration. You always hear it, it's cliche, but it has a lot of meaning. Be the change, starts with you.
K Sharp. Initial K, okay.
My comments are general observation. When big headlines of adversity regarding Bristol start appearing in the Kenosha news, you sense something is amiss in our stable and cohesive community. Our Bristol school has been manageable in size and always is one of the best schools. So the 2 thoughts to take with you tonight would be 1, don't mess with success and quality, and 2, bigger schools, bigger problems.
Katie Coates.
Good evening. I'm going to read from my phone here, I apologize.
Yes.
I'm an educator and have known Mrs. Lynn since 2007. Not only was she our own children's teacher, but she was my colleague and one of our administrators as well. Over the past 11 years, Mrs. Lynn has proven time and time again that she has always and will always put children first. She is always professional and approachable and puts the needs of students before everything else. When Mrs. Lynn decided to move forward from our school community, it was a great loss to ours. The Bristol school community has gained an amazing leader, one that embraces student and teacher needs, is an utmost professional, and is up to date on current best practices and curriculum and puts everyone before herself. I urge the board and community to listen to the facts. The fact that an unbiased investigator determined that there was no evidence to support a conclusion that the district's administrators engaged in any of the following conduct: provided false or dishonest information to law enforcement authorities, downplayed the seriousness of the incident when communicating with law enforcement authorities, or unnecessarily delayed the contact of emergency medical personnel or law enforcement with regards to the incident. All of this should be validation that the administrators at Bristol School have done everything they could to put students and their safety as a top priority. Knowing Mrs. Lynn for as many years as I have, I can attest to her selflessness, honesty, professionalism, and putting students along with their best interests first. You are so unbelievably lucky to have Mrs. Lynn as a leader in your district. And for those of you who do not realize that, you are missing out on getting to know her full potential and all she has to offer all of your children. Some of the audience here tonight barely knows Mrs. Lynn, yet they're here trying to show no confidence. While many of us here tonight have known her and worked with her for over a decade, and we have absolute full confidence in her. We ask you and urge you, all of you community members, to be as actively engaged in the positive things she is doing as you displayed tonight by being here.
Christine Winfield.
Thank you. I am too tall for this. All right, hold on. I think that should work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like it.
All right, I am Christine Winfield. I am here tonight as a parent, hoping to make a difference. As it sounds from what you guys have said tonight, it sounds like my phone call to Mr. Jewett and the letter I sent to you have made some difference already. I'm also here because I chose this school without hesitation over 5 years ago through the open enrollment program based on its long-standing reputation, test scores, and dedicated staff I know. I'm here because I've lost a lot of sleep thinking about and researching many aspects surrounding the attack of the knife-wielding fourth grader. I'm here because I'm concerned, based on my conversation with Mr. Jewett, that his lack of sincere focus for safety puts our children at risk in the event of the next emergency. I initially brought my concerns to Mr. Jewett in a phone conversation 3 weeks ago, and it didn't go very well. But I submitted them my letter to the school board last week outlining my concerns and specific questions regarding student safety. I've been informed that my questions will be answered by the end of the week, so I thank you for that. And on to, these are the areas that I suggested in my phone conversation and in my letter. I'm looking for improved communication with parents. The cryptic messages that we receive by emails have to stop. Messages such as, 2 students were involved in an altercation, only to find out it was not an altercation, but an unprovoked knife attack. This message was received only after, and I firmly believe, because Fox 6 News aired the story hours before. And I hate to say this, but what if a student had a gun and grazed 3 students with a bullet? Would we have been told there was an altercation between 4 students? Another message we received was, we are aware of the situation in the area, therefore the school will be on lockdown. This was when armed robbers from Racine were in the area. I apologize, I'm a little nervous. Parents deserve communication when our children's safety is at risk. At a minimum, at least what the news has already reported. I also asked for a review of the emergency policies and morning drop-off times. Emergency and all applicable procedures should be reviewed immediately following an incident. All staff involved in that incident should participate, not just the board, not just the administration. Let's review the morning drop-off process. Why can students enter the building a half an hour before school begins? Other area schools allow a lot less time. Let's publish a crisis policy. That's what you guys are talking about already, that parents can help and share with their kids so they understand and we understand what the policy is. I asked for review and modification of the handbook. There's definitely room for improving and clearly confirming that we are no tolerance for violent school. So these are the facts, wrapping it up here. The child cut by the knife-wielding fourth grader did sustain a serious physical injury, although deemed not severe by non-medical school staff. It was not an altercation between students as downplayed, but an unprovoked attack with a deadly weapon. The nurse was not on site when the incident occurred, nor for the next 45 minutes when the child waited for medical attention. Administration did not call authorities or 911. Bottom line is we can't change the facts of that day, but we can change how we prepare and react to future incidents through constructive improvements of safety procedure and effective leadership. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, Cheryl Wyden. Yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
Sure. I'm here again reading another person's comments, okay? I'm reading anonymous teacher statement B. We have more administrative assistants than we have ever had, including a communications person and the poorest communication we have ever had in our building. Our assistant principal is drowning in her job, trying to take on both the principal's responsibilities and her own, and it seems like our administrator has yet to recognize this and help her or pick up any of the slack in principal's absence. There have been times when our administration or assistant principal or both are out of the building, and there had been no communication of who was in charge. Now with teachers rotating through the principal spot as interim principals, subs are taking those classes. On Wednesday, there is no one rotating into this position. Are we to expect that nothing bad will happen on a Wednesday? Having a sub once a week for certain classes is not what is best for kids and is not supporting staff. There is a lot of fear in our building of talking to administration about things that concern us after our curriculum director disappeared with no explanation ever given to the staff, and then the administrative secretary of 25 years with no communication about that, and now our principal, another 25-year employee. Many of us worry that we will be next if we speak out. This should tell the board something about what's happening here if 3 people who dedicated their lives to Bristol School, and 2 for more than 25 years, are gone with no explanation to staff at all about the curriculum director or administrative secretary, and nothing about our principal was ever offered until questions were raised at a board meeting. Our administrator has made Bristol have a slick look on social media, but it is a mask for a school that he is ruining. On top of this, in the past 2 months, 2 board members have resigned. This is something that has not happened under previous administrations. At what point will the school board stand up and take notice?
Okay, Stephanie Butenhoff.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Butenhoff. I am from Bristol.
We just come just a little closer to the mic. Yeah. Yes, sorry, thanks.
I'm from Bristol. We have 3 young children and decided to raise our family here with the same small town values I grew up with. I'm concerned with the direction the school is moving in. This is not the same school I knew of growing up. Instead of treating us like a community with valid concerns, our leadership is mixing collaboration that once made our school great, and we deserve better. On behalf of our community, I am presenting this petition for a vote of no confidence against the district administrator and the assistant principal at Bristol Grade School. We have spent much time collaborating with parents and teachers in our community to arrive at the decision to move forward with this vote of no confidence. Broken trust and lack of confidence are not easily repaired. The insincere intentions these administrators continue to exhibit have led to broken trust and unwillingness to collaborate. Our school deserves better. Therefore, we are calling for the removal of the district administrator and assistant principal. We began this petition on November 6th. To date, we have received 183 signatures, and it continues to rise. This does not take into account the teachers and community members that are unable to sign due to fear of retaliation. And here's a copy of the petition and my statement for your records. Thank you.
Gina Walkington.
Sorry. There we go. Okay, I'm Gina Walkington. I'm the mom of 3 boys here in Bristol who are in 5th grade, 1st grade, and 4K. I've been involved since my oldest came to school as a parent, a volunteer, community member, and as an elected officer of the PTA. My intentions in speaking tonight are not to discount the concerns and fears that others in attendance are feeling, but instead to share my own experiences and perspective. So during Mr. Jewick's first year here at Bristol, I was serving as the president of the PTA. And like many, I was really hungry for a change. At times, I struggled to find the patience that changes in this type of environment or of this magnitude require. My experience during that year and in the years since have been mixed. And Mr. Jewick was always gracious with his time, meeting with me, answering my questions, listening to my ideas, and showing me patience even when I had none. What I realized that year was that we have an administrator who not just brings new ideas, but also had the critical understanding of the importance of building relationships and getting to know the community and understanding the situation he was in before he made those critical changes and decisions. I've brought questions and concerns that I've had regarding policy to Mr. Jewick. I've sat across the table from him and witnessed firsthand the depth of his compassion and just how deeply he cared for students at Bristol, and on more than one occasion, I will add. And I walked away from those hard conversations regarding safety protocol feeling reassured and more confident in the way that the school would handle any situation that might arise. It's hard for any parent to think about the safety of their kids being in jeopardy at a place that most of us grew up feeling would be the safest place for our children. My oldest was in 4K when Sandy Hook happened, and I was terrified to send him to school for a long time. But here's the thing about fear, you can't run from it. You have to inform yourself, you have to get involved and work towards change if you feel that something isn't right. I'm really happy to see that more parents and members of the community are stepping up and being involved. I just urge all of you to be thoughtful in your words and actions, take a moment to understand the processes and limitations of the school board. Take a breath, and then as hard as it can be, and I know from a lot of experience, you need to practice some patience. You need to ask yourself if you are working in a way that can do the greatest good for our collective school community. In my time at Bristol, I've witnessed some truly incredible moments. I've also witnessed some situations that were not so incredible. And each experience that I've had has caused me to be increasingly more and more proud to be a part of the Bristol school community, because whether it's good or bad, we always come through on the other side a bit smarter and a bit stronger.
Trent Smith.
My name is Trent. Not long ago, my wife and I were talking about the tragedies that were unfolding all over the country, and to see if there was anything we could do for the school. At that moment, we reached out to Mr. Jewett in an email and asked him to meet with us and talk to us to see how we could help. From that meeting, there was many things talked about, and the most important that day being training for the staff for trauma situations and providing them with equipment to be able to help as well. Since the meeting, we have helped to get all the teachers and staff in the school to be trained to deal with any kind of cuts, gunshots, even some airway problems by simple positioning. Life-saving things that have been taught to these teachers so that at a moment of need they can help save lives instead of watching them die. That's our daughter and all of your kids' lives that could be saved by these things. To go along with the training, kits with tourniquets, wound packing, and chest seals have been placed all over the school to help aid first aid units and teachers in this quest. These are huge things happening in this school and go a long way in ensuring the safety of your children and ours. With that being said, I agree that there are questions that need to be asked about that day, but I think the questions that you have all asked up to this point have not been the ones that needed to be asked. Questions should be asked about why did this situation happen? Did the child feel bullied? Does he need someone to talk to and has no one at home or here that he feels he can do that with? These are questions not only important for that child, but also for figuring out why it happened so it never happens again. There are a lot of things that can be learned from a situation. Unfortunately, sometimes the best lessons learned are those that learn from tragedy. Dwelling on the day and reliving it and causing a divide between the administration, the staff, and the parents of this great school is doing nothing, or is doing the exact opposite thing you all started this for, to help the children. Again, there are things to be learned from that day. There's no one denying that. The important thing now is asking the right questions so that the school can get even better than it was. Mr. Druick has been more than willing to help us and put in place many of our ideas to help protect our children and all of yours. The only thing I would say to all of you is that if you don't like something that's going on, then come up with an actual solution to the problem and that will help for years to come, and bring it to the school. And from my wife's experience and mine, Mr. Jewett and the entire staff of the school will be willing to work with you. I want this school to be as great as this close community that we have all grown up in our entire lives. When we can do this as parents and show the children how to act towards others and act in life, it will make everyone that much better. And if we don't ever want something like this to happen again, then we need to start figuring out what the problem is, coming up with the solution, and work as a team to complete the goal. If you can't do this, it will be a downward spiral for all of our kids' educations for years to come. Mr. Jewett, I would like to thank you for working with us over the last year, and also thank you all for your time.
So next is Sue Radowitz. Sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly.
I'm reading on behalf of an anonymous teacher. I'll start with my first concern, the fear of being targeted and terminated. I would love to claim my opinion and speak for myself, but our superintendent has established a climate where teachers are silenced and fear being unfairly targeted. I simply want to speak up and stand up for the students of Bristol School. I have a sincere heart for helping all students reach their potential. High standards for both the quality learning environment and quality character development are under attack. Bristol teachers, students, and families have always found these high expectations important. It's not that the leadership doesn't speak, post, or tweet about high standards. It's that the decision-making necessary to foster this type of education or educational environment is non-existent with our current leadership. The school is on a fast downward spiral. I understand where board members would feel torn because our leader has a way of seeming pleasant and face-to-face interaction. It's now been long enough to analyze recurring behavior patterns, and behind the superficial surface
are patterns of deception, manipulation, isolation, dishonesty, bullying, disrespect, picking favorites, excluding others, and a general overall lack of integrity. The communication in this building is beyond poor, and the little communication that does occur is vague and insincere. Bristol School students, families, teachers deserve a leader with the ability to interact with everyone in a genuine way. We as teachers collectively strive to encourage students to develop leadership qualities. These qualities would include integrity, honesty, respect, trustworthiness, and responsible decision-making. A leader fit to serve this district should without a doubt display these traits continually. Yes, I said serve. Being here each and every day for the students and families of Bristol School is a service position with a higher calling to impact this world in a positive way. We can't reach this lofty goal with a selfish and immature leader. Less than optimal student behavior is rampant. Behavior standards are no longer in place, and teachers' hands are tied by administration. Students are no longer expected to display age-appropriate personal responsibility. We can continue down this path where students are not held accountable for much, but that will result in Bristol School growing more and more like a babysitting service instead of a place for learning. I want to see all the students grow into people they were created to be. Since the new leadership has been in place, I have observed and intervened in bullying situations at a much higher rate. Kindness and compassion for others are no longer commonplace in Bristol. I want to stand up for the rights of students, families, and employees of Bristol School. I want to work in an environment that is acceptable to athletes and students have the opportunity to reach their God-given potential. They emphasize the students of Bristol School and the community as a whole. Sorry, I'm so nervous.
Kathy Brandt. Sorry, Kathy Brandt.
Hi, I'm Kathy Brandt. I'm reading a letter from an anonymous teacher, Statement D. The administration, school board, and teachers need to be doing what's best for the students at all times. Bristol School is not corporate America where we can do whatever we need to promote our own individual agendas. There is no room for politics in Bristol School if we are truly doing what is best for our students. Students need to have expectations both academically and behaviorally. Past expectations are extremely diminished in this current time. Staff feels like the board has abandoned them and has no clue what is really going on at our school. Staff feels the administrator is unavailable and often not in the building. Our fund balance is greatly depleted since Mr. Buick has taken over. The board should be directly involved in the spending done by our district. 3 key staff members have disappeared with little or no communication to staff. This has created an environment with little or no trust. Wednesday PDs are not being utilized appropriately. We have no collaboration or time with professional learning communities. Decisions are made at the top without any consideration of staff that have education degrees and experience with children. STAR reading and math testing is no longer available for teachers to monitor growth in reading and math. Teachers must now rely on written test or F&P scores to help determine how students are doing. Most teachers have not been formally trained in how to administer the F&P, therefore results are questionable. There is a big push for staff to utilize reading and writing workshop model. However, few staff have been formally trained. This leaves little accountability when attempting to meet the Common Core state standards and cover holes in the teaching curriculum. Administration has hired a new art, music, and PE teacher, but refuses to hire a junior high math teacher, cutting some math teachers' times to a mere 35 to 40 minutes of math each day. This is unacceptable. Distribution of teacher prep time is unequal. Our gifted and talented program is gone. Many bright students and good families have left our district because of this.
There is no master schedule available for the first day of school, leaving specialists wondering where they should be or who is going to show up for class. Duties were not clarified and hall monitoring was not always adequate, leaving student safety questionable. Some staff placed in the front office to help fulfill the principal role do not even have valid principal license. I would encourage everyone to consider the number of years the teachers sitting in this room and in the school have in education, experience, and dedication here at Bristol School. Most of these teachers were at Bristol School when it was #1 in the country.
Please show respect and courtesy to them. Listen to their concerns and do what's best for the students at Bristol School. Help Bristol be #1 again. Thank you.
Josie Stewart.
Hi, I'm Josie Stewart, and I have a 3rd and 7th grade student here at Bristol. Mine is in regards to policy number 9130, public suggestions of formal complaints contained 4 levels of escalation that has been strictly enforced over the past several months. That's 42 total days, assuming 2 days for each of the 3 levels, and then another 36 for the 4th level. There have been 5 total complaints referring to one or both matters concerning the 6th and 8th grade curriculum and school safety following the September 21st cutting incident for the 4th grader. In reference to 4 specific complaints by 12 teachers and 3 parents filed as early as October 9th, I'd like the board to outline specific actions taken and timeframes communicated to administration to identify and rectify violation of 10 out of the 28 responsibilities outlined in policy number 1230, responsibilities of the district administration. I've read the board's response to all the complaints and find them to be repetitive and unsatisfactory as they are missing the basic components of SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Your response acknowledged that you share the concerns regarding scheduling, elective process, and lack of communication. You tasked the teachers who filed the complaint to present a resolve in today's meeting. However, you failed to make yourself, the board, accountable for specific, what you'll do, measurable, how you'll evaluate the administration, achievable, relevant, and time-bound specific dates of when you'll implement the executive limitations and policy governance policies you outlined in your response. In addition, you are missing a key component. How will you evaluate the administration on these actions you share concern on, and the timelines in which are to be met by the administration for policy 1241, non-reemployment of district administration, paragraph 2. If the district administration are found to be unsatisfactory by the board, the district administration shall be notified in writing and allotted time for corrective action. This brings me back to my original question. When did you communicate to the administration in writing the specific unsatisfactory actions, and how and when is the administrator bound to rectify their services to the district, our educators, and our children? Thank you.
This is a group of teachers: Amy Wagner, Megan McEwen, Greta Hackbarth, Jill McDonald, Rachel Ringsby, and Miranda Burke.
So I'm going to introduce our whole team because we are speaking on behalf of the entire team. I'm Amy Wagner, Megan McEwen, Miranda Burke, Jill McDonald, Greta Hackbarth, Rachel Ringsby, Ashley Koschel, Brad Prudzinski, and Kirk Johnson. In an effort to be clear and transparent on behalf of the 6th through 8th grade team, I want to clarify a statement made in today's Kenosha News article stating that the middle school schedule issues have been rectified. In truth, they have not been. Our team presented a solution, but only parts of it had been addressed by administration. However, as of this date, there is no confirmation of anything regarding our proposed solution to the junior high school schedule, or the middle school schedule, put forth at the beginning of the year by administration. To say some things are in the works is accurate, but to claim that the problems are rectified is not. This kind of communication is a pattern in our school. Our team requests a meeting with the board to ensure that the issues that the junior high faces with regards to scheduling are clearly and accurately communicated when statements are being made that go public that suggest that our team is either responsible for or has fixed the myriad problems related to this topic.
On October 10th, 2018, the 6th through 8th grade team submitted a complaint under Board Policy 9130. The board's response to our complaint, dated October 29th, 2018, states, "The board has been made aware that this team and administration did meet on October 11th, 2018 to discuss your concerns on this matter. We know the teachers presented solutions to the administrative team. The board will request an update for the November 14th, 2018 school board meeting on the proposed solutions to be implemented and on the progress toward the 2019-2020 junior high schedule. The following is our response to the board's request. Although Mike Jewett and Sarah Lind stated a goal to have a draft schedule in place prior to dismissal for winter break, our team has not been apprised of any progress toward designing a schedule for the 2019-2020 school year, nor has a member of our team been invited to collaborate on the schedule. Winter break is 5 weeks away, and the next few weeks will surely be reserved for the completion of the new schedule for second trimester, leaving even less time to develop a 2019-2020 schedule prior to winter break. With regard to the schedule currently in place, neither Mike nor Sarah asked how the schedule was working prior to the October 11th meeting, which our team requested in order to discuss our concerns and present our proposed changes. Let's be clear, the solutions to the problems inherent in the current schedule were proposed by the 6-8 team without any help from the administration. By no means do we feel our proposal is a perfect solution, but it does offer our students additional choices of electives and reduces the number of students in the over-enrolled electives. We appreciate the board's effort to correct the published statement regarding the schedule and electives. Our team is sensitive to any suggestion that we got the schedule we wanted, that we are the cause of the problems with the current schedule, and for that matter, any problems that may arise with the revised schedule. Our goal has always been to develop a schedule that is best for our students. We believe the suggestions we offered on October 11th will result in a schedule that is better for our students. With that being said, at the October 11th meeting, our team asked to be directly involved in the development of the schedule for the 2019-2020 school year, as promised last spring when we were told by administration that our Wednesday professional development would be devoted to scheduling with the goal of having a new schedule by December. This is our update in regard to that. As stated in the introduction, the 6-8 team has not been offered the opportunity to collaborate on a schedule for 2019-2020. At the end of the 2017-2018 school year, Sarah told our team that we would spend professional development Wednesdays researching middle school schedules as well as visiting other middle schools to observe how different models operate. We were excited at the prospect of this opportunity, but this plan has not come to fruition. During our meeting on October 11th, Mike and Sarah assured us that a draft schedule would be developed by the time staff and students begin winter break. To reach this goal, we were told subs would be hired to allow small groups of teachers to collaborate on ideas for the schedule. This plan is also documented on an email from Sarah dated October 17, 2018. While we believe it is Mike and Sarah's intent to create a draft schedule by winter break, based on last year's experience, the administrative team understands what a time-consuming task this will be. Our team is skeptical that the work needed to develop a comprehensive schedule for 6th through 8th grade can be successfully accomplished in the time available before winter break.
Additionally, we asked that the bells in the 6th, 8th grade be restored. An update for that, the 6th, 8th team has not received a response from Mike regarding our request to return the bells to signal the beginning and end of each class period. Since the elective period was not working in the best interest of our students, we proposed moving 8th period to 5th period. This change would add teachers who were free 5th period and reduce the number of students in the popular electives. Our update for today. Administration has approved moving electives to 5th period. We are concerned that only 2 additional staff have been added to the elective rotation when others may be available. For example, 1 full-time staff member has 11 additional planning periods each week compared to other school staff and does not have lunch or recess duty. This teacher has a planning period during 5th period and could be made available to teach an elective or supervise a study hall. Even though the 6th through 8th grade team brought this to Mike and Sarah's attention on October 24th, the staff member has not been asked to teach an elective. We question why this particular teacher, who like many of the staff hired by Mike, receives preferential treatment. At this meeting, Mike slid his chair away from the table and said this was Sarah's problem to deal with because she is in charge of staffing, indicating that Mike has washed his hands of our concern.
To alleviate our over-enrollment in some of the electives, our team proposed reevaluating elective offerings, adding additional staff to the elective rotation, and having students reselect second trimester electives after participating in an elective exploration. The update for today. In an email dated October 24th, a member of our team asked for the names of the staff who would be added to the elective rotation by Monday, October 29th, in order to properly plan for and hold the elective exploration in time to efficiently implement the schedule change by the beginning of the second trimester. On October 25th, Sarah responded with a number of questions, and later that day, our team responded to Sarah's questions and again asked for the staff who would be available during 5th period. Sarah never responded to our request. When the 6-8 team did not receive a response from Sarah by October 29th, we decided to plan the elective exploration. On Thursday, November 1st, Jill and Rachel met with Sarah to discuss the procedure for the exploration. Sarah told Jill and Rachel that a new schedule had been developed, but Sarah had one more piece of the puzzle before the schedule would be finalized. We anticipated receiving a copy of the schedule the following week. As of Monday, November 13th, we hadn't yet received the second trimester schedule, so we requested a copy. To date, we have not yet received a copy of the schedule. Additionally, we are waiting to see a list of students enrolled in each elective or study hall so that we may begin planning for the second trimester. On November 7th, Rachel offered to work with Sarah or another 6th through 8th grade teacher to coordinate placement of students in electives. Sarah replied that she would let us know when she had all of the forms. There are 9 school days left before second trimester begins, and we have not received the new schedule, a list of electives that will be offered, or a list of students enrolled in each elective. Another update or piece to this. To increase student accountability and engagement, electives should be graded. And that was our request in our meeting with Mike and Sarah. Our update is that Mike and Sarah did agree to our suggestion, and the grading system was explained to students during the elective exploration, as well as in a slide presentation that was shared with parents.
And the last thing that we spoke to Mike and Sarah about was our lunch, recess, and prep time. Currently, the 6th grade and the 8th grade are the only 2 classes of students in the school that only have 3 homeroom teachers. So at lunch, that puts us down a person compared to everybody else. So for instance, at the 6th and 7th grade lunch hour, we only have 5 teachers to cover, and same thing for the 8th grade lunch hour, whereas every other grade level has 8 teachers to cover. So we asked that we have our lunch duty or our recess duty covered for us. We also explained that we currently are not getting a full 30-minute duty-free lunch when we have either lunch or recess duty,
And both the Bristol Certified Staff Employee Handbook and Wisconsin State Statute do provide teachers with a 30-minute duty-free lunch. So we propose that we have people to either take our lunch or recess duty. We also lose Mr. Ferruzzi on Wednesdays. He teaches younger grades, so we propose that the teachers that assume his position on Wednesday supervise whatever lunch or recess duty he has. And we propose that another person be hired to supervise either lunch or recess. We were told that we would get that help. And as our update for today, during our meeting with Mike and Sarah on October 11th, Mike said that he would hire or find lunchroom supervisors, which would reduce the number of duties the 6th through 8th grade teachers had each week. To date, no lunchroom supervisors have been hired, so we continue to do lunch or recess duty more often than all of the other grade levels in the school, as we have 2 less teachers, as I stated. We haven't received any response regarding the teachers that assume Alex's position on Wednesday to the lunch or recess supervision schedule, and over a month later, we still do not have a duty-free 30-minute lunch break.
I'm reading an anonymous teacher statement received. To whom it may concern, when Mr. Isaac retired, we as a staff had hoped for a positive change. I do my best to not compare our current administration to our old one. Let me just tell you what I see. We have not only lost good employees, but also good students. People retire, we wouldn't know unless they told us. Employees leave, and for what reasons? How many people have to be led to the breaking point before the board sees what's going on? We don't feel safe in our jobs anymore. I can't say everybody is unhappy because I don't know that for sure. However, I do know that at least 75% of the building is. The unhappiness in the school can be seen in the teachers and staff, and will eventually reflect onto the students. It feels like I'm in high school, and you have to try and be friends with the popular people. You're either in or you're out. There's always whispering going on. This isn't the Bristol school we once loved to work at. I have never had a year where I didn't want to come to work, at least up until now. This environment is toxic. We're supposed to promote, be kind, smile. What a joke. Shouldn't this start from the top? We are here for the kids, and we should have everybody that's here for us. I realize when someone new comes in, they need to make things their own, but not like this. Money is spent so unnecessarily. It feels like everything Mr. Isaac, what he left, is trying to be erased. And that includes the employees who were hired by him. Students get away with everything as far as I can see. They have no rules anymore, and if they do, not everyone enforces it. We used to be number one. How sad that we are on such a decline. We don't feel safe, valued, and there is absolutely no communication. The standards have changed, and not for the better. Just look at the building.
Hi, I'm making this statement on behalf of an anonymous teacher. Bristol is a great school, and it should be a priority of the school board, community, administration, and staff to address current issues that threaten the quality of education here. There are many attributes that make up great schools. Leadership, high expectations, positive school culture, and providing a safe and secure environment in which students can thrive are among the most essential. If the school board no longer feels they have a stake in helping to support quality education at Bristol, perhaps it is time to revisit the shift to policy governance. Houston, we have a problem. Let's address it, problem solve and correct it. Isn't that what we want our students to learn to do? Trust and parental participation contribute to a successful school. It saddens me that a parent recently told me they contacted a board member with legitimate concerns and were dismissed with a statement that people complained about the previous administration too. The parents are stakeholders and should be treated with respect and consideration. Trust between all parties of the school community is vital to the school's effectiveness. Teaching staff that have expressed concerns to administration have been met with statements such as, if you are unhappy here, I am happy to write you a letter of recommendation. New hires and some select staff were previously referred to as the dream team, therefore devaluing the remaining staff. New hires are brought in at elevated salaries, and when current staff question what they can do to bridge the salary gap, are told they will have to go somewhere else to do that. New hires and a select group of staff are chosen, invited, to pilot new programs and acquire new resources. Opportunities should be communicated to all staff, and the implementation of programs should be communicated with administration being transparent about what is happening throughout our school. These practices are creating tension among the teaching staff by setting up an environment of the haves and have-nots. Our curriculum has become disjointed. Teachers are encouraged to do their own thing as long as they are following Common Core standards. While flexibility and innovation are valuable in curriculum delivery, current students are advancing to the next grade level with vastly different skill sets. Parents are confused as to why there is such inconsistency. It is refreshing to have flexibility, but there is a need to have common ground and some consistency. We no longer have staff meetings or curriculum committees in which to discuss these matters. Certain staff are given a voice, while others are ignored. There is great disparity between what we offer in the way of programs for special needs students as opposed to academically accelerated and gifted students. We need to explore strategies and personnel to support teachers in meeting the needs of these students. Several families have left our school due to that reason. Teachers are being asked to do more with less time. The added responsibilities of lunchroom duty, morning supervision, and making their own copies have taken away valuable time, especially when the two available copy machines are not in good working condition. It is frustrating that the board communicated that the reduction in early retirement.
Time.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question. My husband works at 9:30. Would I be able to just read this? Because I would have to leave right now. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. And I'm sorry, could you just make sure you say your name? Okay.
My name is Tiffany Angleshaw, and I provide you with a copy of my statement beforehand. Imagine coming home after work to a police officer in your driveway. On Monday, October 15th, I came home from work to find a Kenosha County Sheriff parked in my driveway. My first thought was one of my children were hurt. It's a terrifying feeling. Equally terrifying is the thought of your child being involved in a situation where the police were being called. As Officer Kloss started to ask me questions, all I could think in my head was, what in the world is he talking about? I had no clue about this incident he was referring to that happened on September 17th, a whole month prior to my fifth grade's child's school bus. As he started to explain that another parent had called police to do a welfare check on my child, I interrupted him and said, I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you are talking about. Officer Kloss started to explain that there was an incident on the school bus on approximately September 17th with my child and another student. He asked if I was aware of any incident regarding the situation, and I told him I had no idea about anything, even though I had been in the assistant principal's office 2 times since the incident regarding my concerns with the other incident that took place at the school with the razor blade, and nothing was mentioned to me. I had also talked to Sarah Lynn multiple times by phone concerning my child, explaining to me that they saw the incident with the razor blade take place, and yet still nothing was mentioned. I was also at a conference with all of my child's 5th grade teachers on October 11th, and nothing was still mentioned. The incident on the bus was very serious, yet the school had not contacted me once regarding it. My child, as well as the other child, were possibly put into danger, and they didn't think to communicate that to me. Now the other parent was aware. However, she was told by Sarah Lynn that she had contacted me and that I was aware of the situation and that it was handled. Later to find out that she handled it by talking to our 2 children. A threat was made and the words, "I'll just shoot him," were said on the bus.
I am bringing this example to the board in my own words because it continues to prove the lack of communication and safety that the school has had for our children. The school board was aware of my situation after another parent had brought it up, considering the other events going on. I have just been baffled by the amount of issues we are having to bring to the school's attention. And it's funny how after months of not having any communication with them, they are all of a sudden wanting to talk about everything. Luckily, after finding out this incident happened and talking with the other parent, we know that the children were upset and that they were okay with each other the next day. Us parents talked to each other and our children, and we felt confident that not only were our children okay, but that this would not happen again. However, we were and are still not comfortable with the fact that the school did not call me, they did not follow up on the other children's safety, and they did not even have the same story to all the parties involved. My child now has a police report written because instead of the school contacting me, the police did. I have never been so upset with the school administration, not only for myself, but the other family involved. I cannot bear to think that one of our children could have seriously been injured. The response from Sarah Lind was this: I didn't feel it was serious enough to talk to you after I spoke with the two students. They seem to have been okay. I explained to both of them that it was not nice or okay to say those things, and everything seemed to be worked out between the two students. This is not something that should have been left up to the school to decide was okay until speaking with the parents. What if the child who said that carried out the actual threat to the other person, or even went home and hurt themselves? At this point, I have no confidence in my school administration and how serious situations are handled. Unfortunately, my story is one of many that need to be heard and taken seriously. It isn't until all the negative attention on the school with news, articles, reports, and multiple meetings involved with the community that something is being done. I moved to Bristol for two reasons, one being the school. I will not continue to fear.
Now, how did we get to this point? Bristol School Policy number 3210 states that it is an employee's responsibility to ensure the physical and emotional safety of students and co-workers. After the way things were handled with the assault which occurred at Bristol School on September 21st, I immediately emailed the administration and board regarding concerns about a perceived pattern of neglect regarding the incident. Due to the sensitive nature of the event, I was asked not to discuss the issue publicly. The board president consulted legal counsel and advised me to file a formal complaint regarding the incident, which I did on September 30th. The board hired their own investigator to complete an investigation. This investigator promptly damaged her own credibility when she found, quote, no evidence to support a conclusion that the district administrators unnecessarily delayed the contact of emergency medical personnel and law enforcement authorities with regard to the incident, end quote. We are mandatory reporters, and since the assistant principal was informed immediately about what had occurred, she could have called 911 herself or directed another staff member to do so while I was controlling bleeding and comforting the victim emotionally. Instead, 3 hours later, the assistant principal reached out to our DARE officer to ask his advice, and he immediately sent a sheriff to our school. The victim's parents gave the district the benefit of the doubt and waited just over a month for them to correct the situation. After reaching out to me, I felt an obligation to give them the answers they were looking for in regards to what had happened to their child in the first hour after he had been assaulted. This outcry is not just about the 7 stitches the victim received that day. Anyone who has spent time with the victim of assault understands that it is also about the emotional trauma the victim and others in our building may have sustained. The suspect waved the metal shard around 14 times before lashing out at the victim on the 15th and 16th time, finally stepping forward to cut the victim open on the 17th time. No students or staff were offered to speak with the 3 school psychologists or the 2 counselors on the staff, even though parents and I requested it. This is also about the fact that the victim was chosen randomly by the suspect. It could have been any child in the foyer, and it certainly could have been more than one. The incident occurred at 7:40 a.m. However, administration did not reach out to parents until 2:20 p.m. Staff was not informed until 3 o'clock that day. The delay in communication is appalling and continued when the administration and the school board did not immediately address the victim's parents and my concerns regarding the school safety issues. As of today, the district administrator has never even spoken to me about the incident. More than likely, things would not have escalated to the point they are currently had there been open dialogue. Parents trust that when they send their child to school each day, All staff are going to do their best to keep them safe. Shame on any adults involved in this situation who did not put the safety of the students first. It is our moral and ethical obligation to do so.
Amy DeYoung.
I am Amy DeYoung. I have 4 children who will eventually be attending the schools we are in right now, and I have one that is at home. I am also a teacher, a middle school teacher. I taught in suburban schools with different administrators, so I've been in this field. So I speak as a teacher and also a parent. My notes aren't nearly as clear. I'm doing more bullet points, so just follow along with me, because mine was kind of last minute. I am not a pop-up parent, one who just, peekaboo, here I am. I am someone who has been invested. Somebody mentioned, be the change, you have to step up. I've stepped up. I have had years worth of conversations with administration. All of them have been positive up until this last, I would say about 3 weeks. After the incident that occurred in September, which I have a 4th grade daughter, I didn't hear about it till the news came out, and then when she came home, she didn't really even say anything to me about it. And I immediately called, and I'm sorry, I didn't call, but I sent an email stating there should be guidance counselors in those classrooms. 100%, my child should not have come to that school without a guidance counselor talking to them about what happened, addressing rumors, addressing facts. Are you scared? Are you nervous? I emailed the board, I emailed the administration, and it was, nothing ever happened. And now that I heard that our teacher who sat with that child bleeding did not get any counseling of any sort, it is absolutely an egregious error on the part of this school. I have been coming to board meetings. I have attended all of them since the beginning of the school year because I have an investment in this school with 4 children. And all of these people in this room are not here to, accuse or attack characters of people who have been in administration. That's not what we're here to do. We are here because we want the best for our kids. There have been conversations about the school doors being open before school, that anyone could walk into our school building before anyone is present at the front. We have assault rifles being shot off about a half of a mile away from our school, yet our doors aren't locked. So we know that there are assault rifles in this area, and we leave our doors open for just anyone that could, thank you, case the school. Okay, case the school, see that nobody's checking IDs, are you bringing a child in? They could walk into the building, I played it, stand in a closet, and an entire class could be gone. Something has to change. The last thing I want to say very quickly, principal for a day. I don't know anything about it. I've got 3 kids in the school. What? We have somebody stepping in to be principal for the day that doesn't have their administrator's license? That seems absolutely appalling. I should know. I should know if there's somebody stepping in. Thank you.
My name is Kirk Spiegel. I'm a parent of 2 students here. A couple months ago, I started getting involved with a couple parents who are starting up a safety team. During informal discussions with this growing group of parents, a pattern started to emerge of disappointing interactions with school administration. Some were minor, others more concerning. I won't focus my comments on the student attack from several months ago. Others here tonight, I'm sure, are addressing this directly. The way it was handled, to me, was simply the most blatant example of a disappointing interaction. It also resulted in getting more feedback directly from concerned teachers. I realize teachers are all individuals with varying degrees of confidence in the administration. However, each one I talked to independently described what I can only call a climate of fear. Fear of retribution by the administration, voicing legitimate concerns, fear of losing their jobs if they question the administration, fear of not being allowed to openly share their ideas with the administration. When I learned a couple of teachers actually had pulled their own children out of Bristol, or our struggling mother to send them to Bristol at all, that cemented my opinion of the current administration. Nobody is more aware of the daily reality of what happens in the school than the teachers and staff. Nobody has more of an impact on our children's education than the teachers and staff. When the teachers and staff are not happy, when they fear for their jobs, are frustrated by an administration that dismisses their input without consideration, then they can't be as effective at their jobs, and this leads to our kids not getting the quality education they deserve. At this point, I am past wishing to address my concerns with the current administration. The damage has been done. I believe it is beyond repair here. I hope they will be able to learn from this experience as they seek out other opportunities elsewhere. My request to the school board is simple. Do your job. Replace the current administration with one that is ready to work with the teachers and staff, who provide them with leadership instead of intimidation, and start to rebuild the sense of community that I had come to expect from Bristol Elementary School. Thank you.
Heather Talbert.
Good evening. My husband and I have 2 children at Bristol School and a third that graduated 8th grade last year. We've lived here for 11 years and know many parents, teachers, and staff at Bristol, including many who are bringing criticism towards the administration. I can appreciate a difference in opinion, but I disagree with the manner in which this dissatisfied group is approaching the board and the administration. Over the past 20 years, my husband Jeff and I have both served in a number of top leadership positions in our community. Jeff has been senior pastor at West Scotia Lakes Church for all 11 years we have lived in Bristol, and I've been on the PTA the past few years, currently as president. Between the two of us, we have a lot of experience in leading a significant group of people. I know it can be harder than it looks. We have had our fair share of criticism and difficult situations as well. It is much easier to look back on a situation and, in hindsight, say what should have been done. Often we also cannot share all the details of a situation to protect the confidentiality of those involved. I know the recent incident where a student was cut took everyone by surprise. We've never had something like this happen before. So administrative response meant they had to think on their feet. And now policy can be tightened up for any future situation, God forbid. It reminds me of a few years ago at our church. We didn't have a policy against students at Central High School using our parking lot across the street. We were happy to share our space. We didn't anticipate that students would use our parking lot to sell drugs. My husband was not asked to resign. Instead, we worked with the police, installed security cameras, and changed our policy so it has not happened again. We found it's easier to make changes we need when we don't attack each other, but work together on the problem at hand. I appreciate how the administration is taking concrete steps to change their policy for the future to protect all our kids. I know what we all want. We want a safe, positive, strong learning environment. I'm proud to be part of the group of people working with the administration and the board. I appreciate that you all are intelligent, knowledgeable, thoughtful, diplomatic, and personable. I want an administration that is not afraid to try new ideas. I'd like to see us support change more than bring accusations. That will continue to build our school community, not tear it down. Thank you.
Charlie Anderson.
My name is Charlie Anderson. I'm speaking on behalf of one of our valued educators tonight. We're a public institution here to serve children. Among our goals to what is best for the children. Our primary goal is to educate them and serve their needs. When is it ever beneficial for children to have inconsistencies not only from grade to grade, but within grade levels and in core subjects? How is it best for the children to crowd and cram them into classrooms, take away core class time, and yet expect the same results out of them? How is it best for children to enter a new school and not be able to give the teacher an academic baseline because there are no standardized tests in which to assess them properly? When is it best for children to have staff that is clearly divided? How is it best for both children and adults to have a leader that knowingly sets subordinates up to fail? A leader of any business, institution, program, etc. is successful when only leading by an example. The examples that have been set for us at Bristol are not those of any leadership. A leader does not bully his or her subordinates as we have had done to us. A leader does not get angry when suggestions to improve things are made. If teachers treat their students this way, they would be disciplined and or let go, as some would. Fortunately, it is our teachers and support staff that are holding Bristol together, despite the seemingly on-the-press fear and divisions they encounter day in and day out during this tumultuous time.